All right, folks, so the middle class didn't collapse, but it got redefined, which brings us to the greatest reset of all time. So I believe we are literally around the corner for that collapse to actually happen. It started unfolding from 2022, and I'm sure you heard it all over social media. But looking at the map, I mean, there are like thousands of listings all over the place. More are coming. More people are becoming more desperate, right? And yet, making $100,000 nowadays doesn't even feel like much. However, most of families need more than $100,000 to survive, and yet they cannot find a employment job or a career that provides $100,000. So why did it get redefined, right? Like the equation, the math got redefined, which brings people to their knees. Like they have to literally go into more debt. They have to look into line of credits, HELOCs, and all these other methods to stay afloat. And the only one thing that's literally left is hope. Let's hope that the economy recovers. Let's not talk about it because, most people say, hey, look, I don't want to talk negative because negative outcome will bring the negative talk. Well, hold on a second. We're not talking negatively here. We're just trying to see how can we fix the future to a positive outcome. And just because most people are sitting, being fearful, getting more lines of credit to fix their current situation and to stay afloat doesn't mean that the economy will magically recover and all of it will be wiped out, right? So speaking to some people in the 90s, right? And they said like, look, it smells and it feels exactly like it did in the 90s, right? Like just right before that collapse, right? People got overwhelmed, people got overextended on many of their, bills, day-to-day monthly flows and debt and mortgages and whatnot, right? So it feels exactly like it does feel today. So many are asking, well, when is it gonna crash? Like I haven't seen it. Well, if you live under a rock all this time, you're not seeing it, and the data shows from 2022 onwards, it's feathering down. Yes, it's going down slow, right? Overall, for some people, it's like a drop, like you drop a rock off a building. That's what it feels like. But nobody wants to talk about that, right? Maybe they're ashamed. Maybe they don't want to disclose. Maybe they don't want to get into their private stuff out in the open. But people are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some lost millions of dollars in this, transaction so far, ever since from 2022. However, they keep gluing it, they keep putting band-aids on just to stay in the game because somewhere down the line, they read if you stay long enough in the game, you can survive and you can come up on top as a winner. And I agree. But what's the cost? What is the cost so far? And what is the cost down to the future if you continue doing it? And even if you have the ability to do it, because every, I would say, line of credit or every mortgage usually has a cap, right? So those are the reassessments that people are just trying to avoid in a conversation, right? So most people say, well, who cares if 2 million additional mortgages will be renewed in Canada? Well, who cares, I guess, but that will directly impact you. Because if that mortgage holder cannot hold their mortgage anymore, they will have to sell, which adds more inventory to the list, which adds more stress, which gives more time for the buyers and more choice, right? Which tightens the banks even more because DOM, days on the market, extends. And then if somewhere down the road, the government declares that we have a recession going on, everything shrinks. It's even shrinking right now. It's shrinking so fast, we cannot even acknowledge how fast it's shrinking, right? And another point that I would like to add, that in 2008, we had the big financial collapse in the United States, and we have seen some of these prices cut in half, literally, right? In the US. We were not touched that much. I don't know if you remember or that period, like we had a little I would say real estate on pause, on hold for I would say a 6 months to 9 month period. And at that time, business as usual. Like nothing really shook us. We just continued to grow and to bulldoze over the overextended, people even at that time. So what has changed, right? Like what's the trap? So I think nowadays, like every time you seek for more and every time you need more, like you can't stop. Like it's like you have to provide more to stay afloat. But with that comes other risks, I would say, right? Because you have to take more, then you go into different income brackets that take more from you. Do you understand? So, people living in the 90s making $40,000 in the 90s is equivalent to $100,000 today. Imagine that. Let it sink in for a second, right? And homes at that time, I don't know, what was the average? Maybe 250, right? Today's 1,250,000, right? On average. So if you're putting those averages, it just doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make sense, and people are literally like trapped in that corner, and they don't know what to do anymore, right? Because they understand that they have to run that treadmill. They cannot stop. They have to earn more, and then CRA comes and say, hey, look, red flag, you're in a different bracket. Now it's 38% versus 23% or whatever it is, right? Because you're in a different bracket. It's common sense. Those brackets existed throughout time. So, but what are you going to do? I mean, you have to earn because your monthly cash flow needs it. So therefore, everything seems to be overvalued. Everything seems to be overplayed, right? And the difference between the 90s and today, right? Like it is very rarely that you hear that someone is fixing their car or that somebody is changing, like a major overhaul to their vehicle. No, people are used to changing their vehicles for a new vehicle and continue the cycle, right? Because that payment will remain somewhere there in their threshold. And nowadays, people are not even buying cars because they like them. They're buying the payment, right? Like if the payment fits, we buy the car, whatever it is. Doesn't matter about the brand, right? Or what they like or whatever. So it's like as long as the cash flow works, they're okay with that. So I feel that's becoming like everybody is becoming tired, right? Like so at one point it will have to collapse naturally, not because somebody wants it to collapse. Naturally, you cannot hold yourself, and the methods that people used, with Canada Revenue Agency, not paying taxes for years, and then CRA is knocking, and then you owe, and then interest on top of interest on top of this and on top of that, right? So believe me, it's sitting on people's heads right here, necks, right? Like that doesn't go away. That just doesn't go away. And it feels like that the market cannot provide better careers, that you can jump from making 120,000 or 100,000 a year all of a sudden to $500,000 a year, right? I feel like even construction, like friends and folks in construction, at one point it felt like, wherever you knock, you make $5,000, right? So just multiplied it by 10 days, it's 50 grand, easy math, right? But it just feels like even construction is not doing as well, right? Throughout at least Toronto and GTA, right? So it's like every venue and every direction that some people took, it seemed like it's not really working out, right? And I don't know. I think it just has to come to an equilibrium where maybe two people working can afford that middle class status, right? Whatever that is. I don't even know. In the 90s, we knew, like we knew what it was. It was a white fence, 3 bedroom, middle class sedan or a minivan, maybe both, and that's it. Like that's your middle class, but you're happy. You pay your house off in 20 years to 25 years, and that's it. You retire with that particular fund. The prices did not skyrocket like crazy. They have seen gains over the years. So one might maybe calculate and say, look, if I bought my house at $250,000 within 20 to 30 years, maybe we can predict that it might be $500,000. So it might double within 20 years, right? Which, okay, it kind of follows the inflation and all of that stuff, and that's fine, right? But today, like nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. But we know one thing. We don't know what middle class is anymore. We don't know how long it is before it actually crashes hard. It started already, but when we see that zoom off cliff situation, and summarizing everything that's happening, like it's probably impossible for me to name, but some on the list: mortgage renewals, 2 million coming up, all these pre-construction condominiums that are coming up for closing, right? Somebody has to close on that. CRA is tightening up, different tax brackets, all of these new construction developments are not moving forward, which creates that chain reaction effect, right? People are not making any more money. Tariffs across the border, local problems that we have, and then we have the global issues that are impacting Canada. We have the immigration coming in, leaving, students, lack of students, like there's so much stuff going on. Tax assessments from 2016 on your property, and then like they have to be reassessed at one point to 2026 or something like that, right? So the values are completely off. So your taxes might explode by 100%. Who knows, right? So all these elements are into play, and yet some people are sitting there and saying, no, Canadian real estate is bulletproof. We have a track record. Go and check it from 2000 and onwards. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Yes, we had the golden era 2-decade run, which was unbelievable. And then after the 2 decade, we went into overtime from 2020 up to 2022. In those 2 years, we have seen humongous increases, right? And now these people have to carry it. That's the biggest issue. And most people will not be able to swallow that much at once. So I hope you get something out of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.